You ever hear your wife whisper another man's name in her sleep? I did. At first, I thought I misheard. It was 2:14 a.m. I remember the time because I rolled over, checked my phone, and stared at the glowing numbers while she mumbled something soft. Then she said it again. Not my name. Someone else's. A name that made my chest tighten like a vice. I didn't wake her. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, jaw locked, stomach turning. That was the moment I stopped being her husband. She just didn't know it yet. My name's Logan. I'm a regular guy, foreman for a concrete company outside Fort Worth. I've never been the smartest guy in the room, or the loudest, or the one with a college degree. But I've always been loyal. To a fault. 12 years with Marla. 2 kids. Mortgage. Dog. Sunday BBQs. I thought we were solid. I thought I knew her. But that night planted a crack in my foundation, and once it started spreading, there was no patching it up. The little things started standing out. Her phone never leaving her hand, her laughter at texts I never saw, girls' nights that came out of nowhere. Something was off. Deep down, I already knew. Still, I needed proof. Real proof. Not feelings. Not suspicions. And as I lay there in the dark, her breathing steady beside me, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I was going to find out the truth. Every lie. Every betrayal. I was going to burn it all down. But first, I had one question stuck in my head that wouldn't go away. Who the hell is Trey? Hey, if you're still watching, that means you're enjoying the story. I have one small request. I'm trying to reach my first 1,000 subscribers. If you like stories like this, please hit the like button and subscribe to join the journey. It means a lot to me. And trust me, even better stories are coming. The first time I saw them together, something inside me crashed. It wasn't loud. There was no screaming, no fists, just a quiet kind of collapse. Like a man watching his home slowly cave in from termite rot. He doesn't panic. He just watches, knowing there's no saving it. It was a Wednesday. She told me she had a late work meeting. I told her I'd pick up the kids. She kissed my cheek like nothing was wrong. But I had followed her. She didn't go to her office. She went to a parking lot behind a sketchy strip mall on the east side. And there he was, leaning against a shiny Dodge Charger like he was in a damn cologne commercial. Tall, smug, gym-sculpted, like he knew women would look at him. She got out of the car and walked straight into his arms. No hesitation. No fear. That hug, that wasn't just a mistake. That was routine. Familiar. Practiced. They stood there, kissing like high schoolers, while my world quietly fell apart from inside my truck down the block. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just filmed it. Steady hand. 39 seconds of betrayal captured in HD. I watched it 3 times when I got home. No checking. No emotion. Just documenting damage. You know that feeling when you realize your whole marriage was a lie. It doesn't hit like a truck. It sinks in slowly. Dulls your bones. Makes you see the past differently. Her laughter. Her touches. Our wedding vows. What else was fake? That night, I deleted every selfie we ever took together from my phone. Not to forget her, but to remind myself what she took from me. Everything I thought was mine suddenly felt like it belonged to someone else. My house. She was using it like a hotel between motel visits. My kids? She was still their mother, but now I wonder what kind of woman they were looking up to. My peace? Gone. Even my name, my presence in this family, felt replaced. Like I was a stand-in until Trey showed up full-time. I didn't say anything to her. I kept the mask on, smiled, cooked dinner, asked how her day was, watched her lie to my face, and studied how good she'd gotten at it. But inside, something was brewing. Quiet, controlled. I started making moves. First, I got our bank statements printed. Everything. Every dime spent. I found charges that didn't make sense. Hotel stays in the middle of the week. 2 dinners in one night. Lyft rides from addresses she'd never mentioned. Second, I bought a burner phone. Cheap. Cash only. I used it to contact a private investigator. A buddy from high school who owed me a favor. Ex-cop, good at digging. I need to know where she goes, I said. When she says she's with her friends, where is she really? He paused, then said, You sure you want to know? I didn't answer right away, because part of me wasn't sure. But then I thought about my kids, about the vows, about everything I gave her. I'm not going to stop at knowing, I said finally. I'm going to make them regret ever messing with what was mine. He agreed to start the next day. And as I stood outside my house, watching Marla through the window, smiling at a text, I already knew it wasn't for me. But she had no idea who she was smiling at. Because soon, everything that was mine, I take it all back. The word hung on my mind like a neon sign I couldn't turn off. Cheating. Not just on a test. Not just a one-time mistake. This was a pattern. A choice. Repeated. Deliberate. Every time she laughed at her phone, every "I'm working late" excuse, every fake smile across the dinner table. That was cheating. I didn't confront her. I observed. I watched her put on that red lipstick she never wore around me. I noticed how she turned her phone face down when I walked into the room. I listened as she told our kids she was going to a spa weekend with the girls, except I'd already confirmed she booked a cabin in Hill Springs under a fake last name. Cheating wasn't just physical. It was mental, emotional, a full-blown betrayal of everything I believed we had. The investigator, Ricky, sent me a package that week. USB drive, photos, locations, time-stamped. I watched my wife walk hand in hand with Trey through a flea market in Austin like they were a damn couple on vacation. I watched her wear a hoodie I bought her on our anniversary. The one she told me wasn't her style anymore. She wore it around him. Cheating. I sat in my garage that night. Lights off, just me and the hum of the freezer. And I'll be honest, I almost broke. I almost walked in and screamed at her. Kabedaba. Threw her stuff in the yard. All of it. But I didn't. Because screaming is easy. Pain is easy. What I wanted now was precision. What I wanted was a reckoning so brutal and complete they'd never forget it. And I wasn't going to let anger screw that up. This wasn't just about cheating anymore. It was about payback. There's something sickening about realizing your wife has a whole second life, and she's better at hiding it than you ever thought possible. Her drawers were clean. Her phone always wiped. Her smile? Just another damn prop. I started watching her like a stranger, noticing things most husbands ignore. The way she locked the bathroom door to text. The sudden jumpiness when I asked innocent questions like, "What time are you getting back?" The hesitation before answering anything that required more than a yes or no. I wasn't married to a woman anymore. I was married to a performance. And the star of the show was someone I didn't recognize. What was worse? She was good at it. The neighbors still thought we were that couple. The happy ones. 2 kids. Game nights. Friendly waves. But I knew better now. This wasn't my wife's house. It was her stage. She wasn't trying to hold on to me. She was just making sure I didn't catch up before her new life with Trey was locked in. I overheard her once on the phone. She thought I was in the backyard. "I don't know how much longer I can do this," she whispered. Pause. "Yes, I want to be with you. I just need the money stuff worked out." That's when I realized she wasn't just cheating. She was planning a clean exit, leaving me behind like a used-up chapter of her life. I was her placeholder, her wallet, her alibi. But what she didn't know, while she was planning her new life, I was designing her downfall. Her dream was a lie built on my back, and I was about to flip it into a nightmare. Marla always talked about wanting a clean slate, a life of travel, yoga retreats, candlelit wine tastings. She said she was tired of blue-collar stress. Translation? She was tired of me. The dream wasn't about freedom. It was about control, power, escaping the version of life she used to want, the one we built together. And Trey? He was the shortcut, a fast pass to the fantasy. She didn't see him for what he was. Or maybe she did, and she didn't care. Maybe she liked the danger, the ego, the thrill. But I had a different dream now. It didn't involve saving my marriage. It involved burning hers to the ground before it ever started. I set a date. Her birthday. A big one. She was planning a grand party. Friends, co-workers, her family. She had a champagne tower booked, a backyard tent, even rented heaters in case the Texas weather turned. I told her it was a great idea. I'd help pay. I played the part. But I had other plans. I started cutting a video. Edits of the photos Ricky gave me. The audio clips. That one video of her kissing Trey in the parking lot. I made that the opener. Title screen? From Marla. A celebration of everything you are. It would play right after the cake was cut. I could already picture her face when it started rolling. The shock, the panic, the shame. She had her dream, but I was the one directing the ending. Marriage used to mean something to me. Not the cake or the rings or the overpriced photos. The real part, the fight, the effort, the ugly days you get through just by remembering the good ones. I thought Marla believed in that too. Turns out, she believed in the part where it made her look stable, safe, respectable, but not loyal. While I was putting in overtime, fixing busted concrete foundations in 105-degree heat, she was in hotels under fake names, building a new future with a man who didn't even know how to change his own oil. And the worst part? I didn't see it coming. She wore the ring, took the anniversary trips, posted the family photos like everything was perfect. Marriage to her was a mask. To me, it was a promise. And now, that promise was broken beyond repair. I wasn't going to try to fix it anymore. I was going to show her exactly what she threw away. That birthday party she was planning, I helped her book it, paid half up front, smiling the whole time. She thought I was being sweet. I wasn't. I was building the stage for her public execution. And the best part? She invited everyone. And just like that, the plan was locked. All it took was one well-timed lie. I want this to be a night you never forget. I told her. Let me take care of the projector. I've got something special planned. She kissed me on the cheek. God, the irony. She thought I was setting up a photo montage. Some sappy slideshow of our life together, set to music. She had no clue what was coming. I synced everything the night before. The music, the transitions, the footage. That moment in the motel hallway where she looked at Trey like he hung the moon. That was the closing scene. I wasn't just showing her the truth. I was forcing her to live it in front of everyone who ever believed in her. Her parents, her friends, her co-workers, even our damn kids' teachers were coming. And when the video ended, that's when I'd hand her the divorce papers. Neatly printed, already signed by me. No screaming, no chaos, just cold silence and consequences. This wasn't rage. This was surgical. Because the thing about people like Marla is they always think they're a step ahead. They never see the moment coming where the person they underestimated becomes their reckoning. The party started at 6 p.m. sharp. Balloons, fairy lights, wine chillers humming, people laughing, taking selfies like they were at some high-end wedding. Marla looked radiant. She wore this champagne-colored dress that hugged her just right. Hair curled, makeup flawless. She thought this was the beginning of something new. She was right, just not in the way she hoped. I waited, watched, stayed calm as people made toasts and clinked glasses. Then came the moment. She stood under the backyard tent, glass in hand, smiling at everyone. And I stepped up. Before we cut the cake, I said, I put together something special for Marla. I'll look back on all the beautiful memories she's made this year. Everyone clapped. She smiled like she'd just won a damn award. Then the lights dimmed. The projector kicked on. At first, it looked normal. Our wedding photo, the kids, family barbecues. Then it changed. A parking lot kiss. A motel sign. Hands locked on a hotel bed. Her voice whispering Trey's name on repeat. The crowd went dead silent. I turned to look at her. She wasn't smiling anymore. She was frozen. Pale. Breathing shallow. Like the air had just been sucked out of her chest. Gasps. Murmurs. Someone said, "Oh my God." I didn't speak. I didn't move. I just watched her watch herself. And right now, if you're watching this, if you're feeling the chill run down your back like you're in the room, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. What city are you in? Because trust me, this story's just getting started. The silence after the video ended was louder than any scream could have been. You ever watch a room shift? Like, actually feel it tilt? That's what happened. Nobody moved. Forks froze midair. Phones stopped recording. And Marla? She stood there like someone just pulled her soul out of her body. I turned off the projector. I'll give y'all a minute, I said. Then I stepped off the grass, walked over to the folding table, and slid the divorce papers right under the cake knife. The cake said "To New Beginnings." Couldn't have written it better myself. People started leaving in waves. Her mom walked right past her, eyes full of disgust. Her best friend whispered something sharp and cold in her ear before grabbing her purse. Even Trey wasn't there. He didn't show up. Coward. She stood there alone, mascara running, trembling like she'd just stepped into traffic. And still, she didn't say a word to me. Not why. Not how could you. Not even, I'm sorry. The guilt was too loud for her to speak over. Later that night, she came into the bedroom. Quiet. Heavy. You ruined my life, she said, voice barely above a whisper. I didn't even look up from my laptop. No, Ivrabia. You did that. I just turned the lights on so everyone could see it. She packed her things the next day. Fast. Sloppy. Didn't even fold anything. She left the dress crumpled in the bathroom sink, like she couldn't stand to look at it. Good. It looked better ruined. As she stuffed her car, she kept saying stuff like, "This isn't over, and you'll regret this." But her voice cracked halfway through both sentences. She had nowhere to go. Trey? Ghosted. Blocked her after the video leaked. Turns out, he wasn't as ride or die as he claimed. Shocker. I didn't say anything while she loaded the car. I just watched from the porch, coffee in hand. She paused once, turned back. You think you're better than me now? I smiled. Just a little. No, I just finally see what you really are. She drove off in silence. And that should have been the end of it. But crap like this never ends clean. Especially when you're dealing with people who can't stand to lose. 2 nights later, I got a message from an unknown number. A video. Trey. Shirtless. Bleeding. Talking into the camera. You think you're smart, Logan? You want to play games? You picked the wrong guy. He looked messed up, like someone beat him down hard. But the look in his eyes? That wasn't fear. It was warning. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The moment I watched Trey's video, I knew one thing for sure. He was spiraling. Not just scared. Unstable. He wasn't built to take hits. Guys like him only know how to win when everything's rigged in their favor. When someone like me flips the script, they crack. And that crack, it was spreading. I found out he'd been scamming other women too. Women Marla never knew about. Or maybe she did. Hell, maybe she helped. Wouldn't surprise me anymore. I reached out to Ricky. You got eyes on him? Always, he said. But he's getting sloppy. Real sloppy. Good. Let him fall apart. But I wasn't just sitting around waiting. I moved my money out of her shared accounts. Canceled her cards. Changed passwords. Secured the house deed. Called my lawyer again. I wasn't leaving any door open. Because when snakes get cornered, they don't beg. They bite. And that video Trey sent? It wasn't just for show. It was bait. Later that night, I walked out to my truck and noticed the window cracked. Glove box open. Nothing stolen. Just moved. They wanted me to feel it. To know they could still reach me. But here's the thing. I don't scare easy. Not anymore. You want to come for me? You better bring something stronger than threats and scratches. Because now, I'm not just playing defense. I'm taking this fight to the finish line. Every lie has a root. And I was starting to get to the root of this whole mess. This wasn't just an affair. It wasn't just a cheating wife and her side guy. This was something bigger, colder, calculated. Ricky had been digging. Quietly, patiently. He handed me a file that felt heavier than it should have. Your wife and Trey? They've been running cons, he said. What kind of cons? The kind that ends with bank accounts drained and lives ruined. Turns out, Trey was the bait. The charmer. He'd target women, wealthy, vulnerable, looking for something. Marla would pose as a friend, or sister, or just the ex who was still friendly. She gave credibility, access, and then they'd bleed the women dry. Disappear. Repeat. I stood there holding that file, flipping through receipts, names, hotel bookings, wire transfers. And all I could think was, how much of my life was real? Did she ever love me? Did she marry me because she cared? Or was I just a stop on her way to something bigger? This wasn't just a marriage gone bad. This was a goddamn operation. I wasn't the only one who got played. But I'd be the first one to play back harder. Because I knew now exactly what I was up against. Not a broken woman. Not a cheating wife. But a con artist in heels. And a predator who didn't know he was already being hunted. I thought I knew her. The way she laughed at stupid sitcoms. How she used to wear my flannel shirts around the house. How she cried when we bought our first crib. But that version of Marla? She didn't exist. What I was married to, what I gave 12 years of my life to, was a lie stitched together with charm and manipulation. She didn't just cheat on me. She studied me, figured out what I needed, then became it, until she didn't have to anymore. She was two people. Marla, the wife, and Marla, the ghost in everyone else's bank account. I sat on the edge of my bed that night, holding a picture of us from a Christmas trip, smiling, happy. God, we looked real. I thought about smashing the frame, but I didn't. Instead, I stared at it, burned it into my brain, because I wanted to remember exactly who she pretended to be, so that when I take her down, I'll know what I'm really destroying. Not just a liar, but a master of disguise. I sent a message to one of Trey's former marks. Her name was Sloan. We talked for hours. Turns out, she'd lost over $40,000. But she had screenshots, bank logs, voice recordings, evidence, and a hell of a grudge. She asked me, "You in this to win, or just to feel better?" I answered with one line, "I'm in this to end her." They called him her lover, but that word was too soft, too romantic. Trey wasn't some tragic Romeo. He was a weapon she aimed at anyone standing in her way. He wasn't in love. He was in business, and I was about to shut it down. Ricky tracked him to a fitness studio in East Dallas, posing as a self-help coach for divorced women. Can't make this stuff up. He ran seminars, sold supplements, pushed some BS about healing your inner energy, all while texting half the room behind his fiance's back. I drove there one afternoon, didn't say a word, waited in the parking lot until the last woman left. Then I walked in, locked the door behind me, and stood there while he turned around with that same greasy grin. Well, he said. The husband. I didn't say anything, just cracked my knuckles. You know, he started, your wife, crack. One punch, no warning. He hit the floor like a sack of bricks, hands up, trying to protect himself. I know exactly who my wife is, I said. Then I beat the crap out of him. Not wild, not loud, clean, measured, body, ribs, jaw. He crawled toward the door. You better run, I told him, because next time I'm not stopping. I left him there, blood on his teeth, fear in his eyes, and I smiled walking back to my truck. That wasn't justice. It was just a preview. She wasn't expecting it. Not yet. That's what made it perfect. It was a quiet night. Just dinner. The kids had gone to sleep early. She was cleaning up the plates. I poured myself a drink. I leaned against the counter and said it like it was nothing. You ever wonder what people would think if they saw you sneaking into the Oak Street Motel? She froze. Her hand hovered over a wine glass. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. She slowly turned. What? I sipped. You heard me. She laughed. A dry, nervous sound. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, it's not exactly subtle. You should have picked a place without cameras. Or maybe worn something other than your usual heels. The glass slipped out of her hand. Hit the floor. Shattered. Her face went pale. I walked past her, grabbed the remote, turned on the TV. The motel footage played. Grainy. Black and white. Her and Trey. Clear as day. I didn't yell. I didn't threaten. I just let the truth play out. She sank into a chair, jaw slack, eyes blinking like she couldn't wake up. Logan, just let me explain. You had your chance. Silence stretched between us like a noose. Then she whispered, "What are you going to do?" I walked to the door. Whatever I want. And I left her sitting in the wreckage. No threats. Just certainty. She knew. It was over. And she still had no idea what was coming next. There's a kind of fire that doesn't burn your skin. It burns your name, your face, your story. I lit that fire for her. And I made sure everyone she ever lied to got a front row seat. Ricky helped me upload the video to a private link. No social media blasts. No viral drama. Just a single message. You deserve to know who she really is. It went out to her sister, her boss, her best friend, the school's PTA board, even her old college roommate. Within 24 hours, the call started. First one was from her job, then her mother, then a woman I didn't even know. Said she'd lent Marla 10 grand last year and never saw a dime back. By the end of the week, her name was in the gutter. That perfect, polished image burned down to the studs. She tried to fight it, called people, sent voice notes, played the victim. But the truth had already caught up, and it doesn't let go easy. Marla came back to the house once, banged on the door, screamed through the wood. You're destroying me. I didn't answer. I just sat inside listening calm, because fire doesn't scream. It consumes. And she lit the match. I just showed her how fast it spreads. She disappeared for a while after that. Gone like smoke after a burn. Word around town was she moved in with some cousin across state lines. Tried to start over. But starting over doesn't work when your past follows you like a shadow with a speakerphone. Everywhere she went, her ashes spread behind her. Burned bridges, ruined credit, frozen accounts. Even Trey had vanished, probably nursing bruises and broken pride somewhere far from a gym mirror. I thought that would bring me peace. But you know what? Peace is complicated. I look at our old photos, the ones I didn't delete, and feel a weird mix of sadness and satisfaction. Not regret, never regret. But I realize something. Revenge leaves a silence behind it, a stillness. The fire's gone. The ashes are all that remain. And that's when you ask yourself, what now? I wasn't in pain anymore, but I wasn't free yet either. Because once the wreckage settles, you have to face what's left standing. And I still had a lot of questions. About her, about Trey, but mostly about who I was becoming. The real storm didn't hit during the reveal. It came after. I thought burning her down would be the final blow. But people like Marla, they don't go quietly. They twist. They claw. They don't just burn. They try to drag others into the fire with them. She filed a motion to reopen our custody agreement, claimed I was violent, unstable, said I had rage issues, that I was traumatizing the kids. She had no proof, but she didn't need truth. She needed noise, and noise spreads fast in a small town. Suddenly, I was getting side eyes at the store, whispers at work. Even the school called to check in. I felt it coming. The pressure, the whispers, the shift in the wind. This wasn't about getting the kids. It was about control, about revenge. She'd lost the public fight, so now she was going for the one thing that could break me, my family. I met with my lawyer the next morning, slammed a thick folder on her desk. Everything she's ever lied about, I said, including the new stuff. I'm not playing defense anymore. She opened it, read, then looked at me carefully. This storm you're in, Logan? It's about to get worse before it clears. I lean back. Good. Why is that good? Because the worse it gets, the more I get to bring her down legally, publicly, and permanently. Let her come. Let it rain. Because I'm not scared of storms anymore. I'm the storm. I was living on the edge, and I knew it. Every move now had weight. Every word, every look. One wrong step, and she'd flip it against me. But what she didn't understand was I lived on edges my whole life. Raised by a drunk. Worked on job sites where one mistake could kill you. Pain wasn't new to me. She thought this game would break me. She didn't realize it was fueling me. I started documenting everything. Every call. Every visit. I kept logs. Voice memos. Had Ricky tail her again. See who she was meeting, who was still dumb enough to believe her. Turned out she was trying to recruit backup. Old friends. Family. One by one she called them, cried to them, sold some sob story about me, turning into a monster. But the best liars always go too far. She told her sister I hit her, that I threw things, that I threatened her life. What she didn't know was I had our entire last conversation recorded. Calm, controlled, her voice begging. Mine never raised. I sent it to her sister. That bridge? Gone. The more she pushed, the more she lost. And the more she lost, the closer she got to the edge herself. One night, I got a message from her burner. You think you've won? I still have one move left. That wasn't a threat. It was a warning. And I knew right then. She wasn't done. She was desperate. And desperate people, they don't fall off the edge. They jump and try to pull you with them. I was done pretending. Done playing her game by her rules. This was never about just catching her in the act. This was about ending her reach, her control, her ability to hurt anyone again, including our kids. I'd spent weeks reacting, dodging punches, putting out fires. But now, I was stepping into the center of it. I met with Sloan again, the woman Trey and Marla scammed. She wasn't just a victim. She was smart, connected, and pissed. She slid a folder across the table. You're not the only one who wants to bring them down. Inside, names, emails, financials, a breadcrumb trail leading back years. Fraud, identity theft, hidden bank accounts. Sloan leaned in. You want to expose them or bury them? Both, I said. We shook on it. That night, I went home, looked in the mirror, and didn't see the same guy anymore. Not the husband, not the victim, not the guy trying to save a broken marriage. I saw a man on a mission, someone with a purpose bigger than heartbreak. I wasn't just rebuilding my life. I was taking back every piece of it and torching anything they built with my name. And if she thought this storm was bad, she hadn't seen what happens when I walk through the ashes and come out still standing. Because this time, I finish it. She thought she was about to flip the script. She filed harassment charges, filed a motion to freeze my accounts, told the court I was unstable and dangerous. But the moment it all crashed was in that courtroom. My lawyer stood up with a calm smile, cleared her throat, and dropped a hard drive on the table. Exhibit A, Your Honor. The judge looked confused. What am I about to see? Just the truth. We had everything. The motel footage, the recordings, bank records, fake accounts in her name linked to Trey. And that voice memo, Marla threatening to destroy me if I didn't shut up and walk away. The courtroom was quiet except for the sound of her lies breaking apart in real time. Her lawyer leaned in and whispered something. She went pale. Game over. Outside the courthouse, she tried to talk. This wasn't supposed to happen like this. I didn't answer. I just walked past her, calm, knowing the life she thought she was building had just collapsed in front of a judge. She played with fire. Now she was sitting in the wreckage. Alone. No applause. No audience. Just the sound of the only thing she had left crashing down around her. I sat in my truck that night thinking about what was mine again. My name. My freedom. My kids. I've been living in her world for too long, walking on eggshells, questioning my own instincts, letting her talk circles around me. But not anymore. Now, I had the power, and I wasn't letting it go. I picked up the kids from school the next day. Their faces lit up when they saw me. Real joy. My daughter hugged me and said, "Is Mom coming back soon?" I knelt down, looked her in the eye. "She might visit, but you're staying with me now." "That cool?" She nodded. "Yeah, that's better." That one word hit me harder than any punch Trey ever threw. Better. They knew. Maybe not the details, but they felt it. They saw things they didn't know how to explain yet. But they weren't blind. They saw who kept showing up, who kept them safe. That night, we had pizza, watched old cartoons, laughed till we couldn't breathe. And I realized something. She might have wrecked a lot, but she didn't take everything. Because what mattered most was still mine. I found out Trey had been cheating on Marla too. Yeah, let that sink in. The guy who helped her blow up our family was doing the same thing to her, behind her back. Sliding into DMs, scamming new women, setting up weekend wellness retreats with rich divorcees across the state. Sloan showed me the proof. Screenshots, voice memos, GPS logs. Turns out, Trey had a long-running habit of double-crossing everyone, including his partners in crime. Marla was just another name on his list. I remember laughing when I saw it all. Not a bitter laugh. A real one. Because karma? It doesn't always hit fast. But when it does, it hits exactly where it hurts. She cheated on me. He cheated on her. And now, they were turning on each other. In court, she tried to blame everything on him. Said she was pressured into the fraud. That she didn't know what he was doing with the money. And Trey? He gave her up instantly. She was in on it from the beginning. No loyalty. No partnership. Just rats scrambling off a sinking ship. And I just sat back, watched them cannibalize each other. And I thought, you really can't cheat the system forever. Eventually, the truth cashes every check. And it never bounces. I used to say my wife like it meant something solid. Now it felt like a punchline. Because the truth is, everything about my wife's version of the story was fake. Her smile? Practiced. Her words? Scripted. Her love? Leased, not owned. I got a call from Sloan again. She'd been talking to another woman. Someone who claimed Marla had been in on the scam game long before she met Trey. Yeah, before Trey. This woman, Vanessa, said Marla used to date another guy in California. Another scam artist. Similar routine, rich targets, emotional bait, clean exit. And you know what stopped that scheme? He got arrested. Guess who testified against him? Marla. She flipped, played the victim, walked away untouched. And months later, she turned up in Texas with a new name, a new look. And then she met me. That night, I stared at the wall in my bedroom and asked myself the hardest question yet. Was I ever really her husband, or just her next victim? I thought I could handle the betrayal. But this wasn't cheating. This was construction, layer by layer, building a life out of manipulation. What kind of person does that? someone who never loved anyone to begin with. And that's when I stopped calling her my wife. Because the woman I married, she never actually existed. Marla always talked about her dream life. Luxury, travel, freedom. Turns out, that dream was funded by stolen identities, fake bank accounts, and carefully targeted hearts. But here's what no one tells you. The dream dies differently when it was never built on truth. I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. It was Marla. She was in some small Arizona town now, working a low-end job. No car, no support, alone. She wrote one sentence. Do you ever miss the dream we almost had? I stared at it for a long time. Because I did. Not her, not the con, but the dream. A house full of love, peace, the kind of life where you don't wake up every day ready for war. But then I thought about my kids, about the wreckage she left, the lies, the money she stole, the years. I typed back, I don't miss fake things. And I hit send. She didn't reply. Maybe she cried. Maybe she moved on to her next scam. Doesn't matter anymore. Because the dream she sold me, it's dead. But I'm still here, still standing. And now I get to build something real. No masks, no lies, just peace. Even if I have to build it from scratch. They say marriage is a promise, a binding of two lives into one. But ours? It was a contract built on fraud. I found our wedding video in a box in the attic. Thought about burning it. But instead, I watched it. Alone. She looked perfect. Smiling, glowing. I remembered how my hands were shaking when I read my vows. I meant every damn word. She didn't. It was all an act. A dress rehearsal for the next phase of her scam. I was the stage. The background. The steady paycheck. And now, looking back, every hug, every kiss, every I love you felt like a business transaction. But here's the thing. Even though she played me, I didn't lose. Because I never stopped being real. That was the difference. She lied her way into a marriage and still ended up with nothing. Me? I walked away with truth, with my dignity, and with the one thing that outlasts betrayal, self-respect. So no, I don't regret marrying her. Not because she deserved me, but because she taught me exactly what I'll never accept again. That chapter's closed. And the next one? It's mine to write. I didn't think it would go this far. And yet here I was knee-deep in legal papers, voice recordings, old phone logs, burner phones, witness statements, all leading back to them. Trey and Marla didn't just hurt me. They hurt a lot of people. And that's what finally pulled the feds in. Fraud, identity theft, white fraud, conspiracy, Rico violations. Sloan and I worked together to compile everything. She handed it all off to her contact at the state attorney's office. The moment she said the words, "They're building a case," I knew we were close. Closer than ever. But this wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about everybody they left in their path. All the women they tricked. All the money they stole. All the lives they turned upside down. And now, they were about to pay for every bit of it. I got the call 2 weeks later. Trey had been picked up outside Phoenix at a yoga retreat for high-income empaths. You can't make this stuff up. Marla? Gone. Again. But now the manhunt was federal. This wasn't a game anymore. This was prison time. No fast talking. No lies. Just bars. Cold. Steel. Final. And I didn't even feel joy. I just felt done. For the first time in months, I exhaled. The fire was almost out. And everything they built was turning to dust. They found Trey with a fake passport, a burner phone, and $2,300 in cash. He didn't resist, because he couldn't even stand up straight. Turns out, he'd been jumped a week before the arrest. Someone beat him down in the middle of the night. Cracked ribs, black eye, broken wrist. Nobody knew who did it. Wasn't me. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't smile when I heard. At the trial, he looked like a ghost of the man he once was. Shaved head, prison jumpsuit, sunken cheeks. I sat 2 rows back. He avoided my eyes. And when the judge read the sentence, 7 years, no chance of early parole, he didn't flinch. He just stared straight ahead like he'd left his soul back in that motel hallway a year ago. After the hearing, I stood outside with Sloan. "You think he'll learn anything in there?" she asked. I shook my head. Nah, guys like him, they don't learn. They just lose. And he lost everything. His scams, his freedom, his money, his control. He beat a lot of people down along the way. But in the end, The only one he truly beat was himself. The letter came on a Tuesday. No return address. No name on the envelope. Just one word in shaky handwriting. Logan. Inside was a folded sheet of paper, written in the same pen I used to see in birthday cards. It was from Marla. No threats. No apologies either. Just 5 sentences. They'll catch me eventually. I know that. I don't want to run anymore. I never hated you. I just hated myself. That was it. No signature. No love, Marla. Just a blank space at the bottom. Like she'd run out of things to say, or finally realized there was nothing left to write. I sat on the back porch that night, holding that letter, staring at the trees swaying in the wind. The air was still, quiet, and for the first time since this started, I wasn't waiting for the next bomb to drop, because the final move was already made, and it didn't come with a bang. It came with silence, and honestly, that felt louder than anything else she ever did. You don't realize how much crap you carry until you start letting go of it. The boxes in the garage, her clothes, her books, the old wedding photos. I'd walk past them for months, too numb or too angry to deal with them. But now, I pulled it all out. Every piece. I laid it across the floor like a crime scene. Remnants of a life that never existed the way I thought it did. The wedding album. Her perfume still half full. A hoodie she used to steal off my side of the bed. I could have burned it. A year ago, I would have. But I didn't want a fire. I wanted freedom. So I packed it all in boxes called Goodwill and let it go. Because I was done living in the shadows of crap that didn't belong to me anymore. I walked through every room in that house, one by one, until there wasn't a trace of her left. And when I was finished, I opened all the windows. Let the air move through. For the first time in over a year, the house felt clean. Empty, yeah, but mine. That weekend, I took the kids out of town. Just us. No phones. No headlines. No questions. We hit a small lake 2 hours north, stayed in a beat-up cabin that smelled like old pine and campfire smoke. It wasn't fancy, but it was real. We hiked, fished, made s'mores, laughed over stupid stories. And somewhere in the middle of that quiet, on the second night, after the fire went out, my son asked me something I didn't see coming. Dad, do you still love Mom? It hit me in the chest. I didn't answer right away. Not because I didn't know, but because I wanted to say it right. I loved who I thought she was, I said. But sometimes people, they're not who you think. And that's not your fault. He nodded like he understood more than I expected. Maybe he did. That night, I sat on the cabin porch while the kids slept and realized. I've been stuck between hate and healing for so long, I forgot what peace even felt like. And out there, under those stars, I finally got a piece of it back. I used to dream of the moment this would all be over. Of the silence. Of the justice. Of finally walking through my house without feeling like a ghost. But I never imagined it would feel so still. No anger. No revenge plans. No letters. No screaming matches. Just stillness. But with that stillness came something else. Grief. Not for her. Not for Trey. But for the version of myself I'd lost along the way. The man who believed love was simple, who trusted too easily, who thought loyalty always meant something. That guy was gone now, replaced by someone harder, smarter, sharper. But underneath all that steel, there was still a part of me that missed being soft. And maybe that's what healing really is. Not pretending it didn't hurt, but learning how to breathe again with the scars still showing. Because the truth, the man I was before, he wouldn't have survived this. But the man I am now, he's still standing. And that's enough. I thought I was done thinking about her. But that's the thing about pain. You don't always get to pick when it resurfaces. It was a Tuesday when the past knocked one more time. Sloan showed up on my porch. We hadn't spoken in weeks. I figured she'd moved on. She didn't waste time. I found something, she said, holding up a thumb drive. From Marla, sent to one of Trey's old girlfriends. Somehow it got back to me. I let her in. We watched it together. It was Marla, sitting alone in a motel room. Hair tied back. No muck-up. No performance. I never wanted to be this person, she said into the camera. But I learned early that love was leverage. And once you know that, it's hard to unlearn it. She looked dead behind the eyes. I didn't pick Logan because I loved him. I picked him because he made me feel safe. And that's the one thing I never had growing up. I stared at the screen. No tears. Just that cold, familiar disconnect. Sloane looked at me. You okay? I nodded. She never really saw me. Only what I could give her. But here's the twist. I used to need closure. Now, I just needed to remember this. I wasn't broken because of her. I was better because of how I survived her. There's a difference between a fling and a lover. A fling uses you. A lover learns you, breaks you open, gets inside your skin. And Trey? He wasn't just some dumb side guy. He knew what he was doing. Sloane, and I kept digging. The more we found, the uglier it got. Turns out, Trey used to record private conversations with his targets. Bragged about them to his buddies. He once said about Marla, she's easy to manipulate. Needs attention like oxygen. I can make her do anything. I felt my jaw clench when I heard that. Not because I wanted to protect her. No, that ship sank months ago. But because it confirmed what I already suspected. Trey didn't love her. He used her. Same as she used me. Same as they both used everyone. And now, he was sitting in a concrete cell while she ran from shadows in a state she never called home. That's not love. That's war with pretty words and fake promises. They destroyed each other. And all I had to do was survive long enough to watch. I stood in front of the mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back at me. Not in a bad way. Just different. The eyes were sharper. The face leaner. Not tired. Just tougher. My son walked in while I was adjusting my shirt. You look like a superhero, he said, grinning. I laughed. Do I? Yeah, like one of the serious ones. The ones that don't take any crap. That stuck with me all day. Because for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a man trying to clean up the mess. I felt like a man who ended it. The guilt, the shame, the weight, it didn't own me anymore. And as I drove my kids to school, music playing low, windows down, I realized something. I wasn't scared of the future. Not of being alone. Not of being betrayed again. Not of starting over. Because now, I trust me. That's the foundation. Not her. Not them. Me. And that's something no one could take. I drove past the old motel. The one where it all crashed. It wasn't intentional. I was just heading home from work when the sign caught my eye. Still flickering, still busted, still sitting under that same pale neon light like nothing had changed. But everything had. I pulled into the lot, parked in the same corner I once hid in, holding my phone steady as I recorded the proof that tore my life in half. Back then, I thought that was the crash. But standing there now, I realized the real crash didn't happen in a parking lot. It happened when trust broke. When I looked into the eyes of someone I loved and saw a stranger. That's when the ground really gave out. I walked to the stairs where they used to meet. Just stood there, silent. Not angry, not broken, just still. I don't know how long I stayed. Long enough for the sun to dip. Long enough for peace to catch up. Then I got in my truck, looked at myself in the rearview mirror, and said one line out loud. You walked through it, and you're still here. I didn't cry. I didn't flinch. I just drove away and didn't look back. The crash already happened. This was the rebuild. I thought I'd lost everything that was mine. But now I realized what's truly yours can't be stolen. It's not the house, or the ring, or the title of husband. It's the part of you that survives the fire. The man I am now, he didn't come from peace. He came from war. And now, every step I take is deliberate. I reclaim my mornings, making breakfast for the kids without that tension in the air. No fake smiles. No forced, how was your day? Just real. Simple. Honest. Mine. I started therapy too. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be that guy either. But one session turned into 3, then 6. And you know what? It helped. Helped me understand that forgiveness isn't about them. It's about releasing what you don't want to carry anymore. So I let it go. All of it. Not because they deserved it, but because I did. What they broke, I rebuilt. What they stained, I cleaned. What they tried to take, I kept. Because in the end, what's truly mine isn't what I lost. It's what I walked out of the fire, still holding. The word cheating used to fill me with rage. Now it just sounds empty. Flat. Like a dull knife that can't hurt you anymore. But it still matters, because it wasn't just a betrayal of vows. It was a betrayal of identity. I spent years building something I thought was real, and she treated it like a game of poker. Bluffing. Folding. Switching hands mid-play. But here's the truth. Cheating doesn't say anything about the person who got cheated on. It says everything about the one who did it. It's cowardice dressed up as adventure. It's fear pretending to be freedom. And no matter how many excuses Marla tried to give, I stopped listening a long time ago. She texted me again last week. Said she was thinking about turning herself in. Said she missed the kids. Said maybe we could talk. I didn't reply. Because there's nothing left to say. She already made her choice. And I made mine. I don't fight ghosts. I don't revisit graves. And I don't carry shame that doesn't belong to me. She cheated the life we built. But I survived it. And that is the best answer I'll ever give her. They say hindsight is 20/20ths. But when I look back now on my wife's life, the choices she made, the damage she left, I don't see clarity. I see a blueprint, a map of what not to become. Marla didn't just cheat. She didn't just lie. She destroyed everything she touched, not because she wanted to, but because she never learned how to value anything real. She was raised on manipulation, fed by control. She thought love was leverage and vulnerability was weakness. I used to feel sorry for her. Now, I just feel distant, like her story belongs to another timeline entirely. The kids ask about her sometimes. Less now than before. I don't lie. I don't badmouth. I just say, she made some choices she's still figuring out. They nod. They move on. Kids are better at understanding loss than we give them credit for. I'll never erase what she did, but I also won't let her shadow hang over our lives anymore. She was my wife once, but now she's just a part of the story, not the whole book. I never thought I'd get to dream again. When everything falls apart, your brain doesn't think about hope. It just thinks about surviving the day, getting through breakfast, making it to work without feeling like you're carrying a cinder block on your chest. But then one morning, it all felt light. I woke up before the alarm, made coffee, no rush, no stress. The house was quiet, and I actually heard birds outside for the first time in what felt like years. It didn't hit me all at once, but slowly I realized I could start imagining something new. Not just a life without her, but a life on my terms. I started sketching out business ideas. Thought about opening my own construction outfit. Something small, honest, built from scratch. I met people. Good people. Real ones. And then there was someone new. Her name's Elise. She works at the community center. We talked during drop-offs. Just simple stuff at first. But one conversation turned into a dozen. She doesn't ask for anything. She listens. Laughs at my dry humor. Doesn't try to fix me. And for the first time since all this began, I think I want to dream again. Not with blind trust, but with eyes wide open. Funny how one word, marriage, can mean two completely different things depending on when you say it. Back then, it meant security, a future, a foundation. Now, it means experience. It means lessons. It means understanding that love without respect is just theater. I'm not scared of it anymore. I don't roll my eyes at it like some bitter guy who's sworn off happiness. But I'm not in a rush either. If I ever go down that road again, it won't be for appearances. It won't be because I feel lonely or because the world says I should. It'll be because someone sees me, really sees me, and doesn't flinch. Someone who doesn't just love the version of me that's smiling, but the one that's rebuilding. One brick at a time. I don't need a second marriage to feel whole. I already did the hard part. I got up from the wreckage. I faced the mirror, and I didn't turn away. So whatever comes next, whether it's love or just peace, I'm ready for it. I said I'd beat the crap out of her lover. And I did. But the truth is, the real beating didn't come from fists. It came from everything that followed. Trey didn't just lose a fight. He lost his freedom, his scams, his reputation. He lost the ability to walk into a room without someone knowing exactly who and what he really was. And Marla? She lost even more. Her lover sold her out in court. Her name turned to ash in her own hometown. She didn't just get exposed. She got erased. And me? I didn't just win. I changed. I walked through betrayal, humiliation, manipulation, and heartbreak, and came out the other side stronger than I've ever been. No fake smiles. No half-truths. No pretending. This wasn't a comeback story. It was a rebirth. So if you've been with me all the way to this last chapter, here's where you come in. Take a second right now. Yay, to let me know where you're watching from in the comments. Are you in Texas like me? Or tuning in from New York, Chicago, LA, or maybe somewhere totally different? Wherever you are, this story hit you for a reason. If it made you feel something, think something, even if it pissed you off or fired you up, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And yeah, smash that subscribe and tap the bell icon, because we're not done telling stories that hit deep. You stuck around till the end? Then do me one more favor. Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. How did this story hit you? What would you have done? Was justice served? Was it enough? Let's talk. Your voice matters here. And remember, we don't heal by hiding. We heal by telling the truth, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. Thanks for riding this one out with me. I'll see you in the next story.